keep abreast with the changes in the profession. So we are going to concentrate seriously on trainings and retrainings. But before we do that, we will have to reunite members of the association.
The massive turnout of women journalists for today's campaign, I am grateful. If I'm re-elected, I will continue on that path of seeking for training and retraining for women journalists, while also attending to the needs of the vulnerable women, children, especially girls in our society.
Chairperson, Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, Rivers State Council, Susan Sarekana Wikana, thanked members for their massive turnout, which according to her indicates that they are prepared for the election, and advised them to vote their choice, having heard from the aspirants. She also commended the aspirants for coming to engage and interact with members in the state and appealed to them to keep their promises when elected.
I'm still soliciting, give their total support to our own people. So that is that. Take note of it. When you go, analyze your story, analyze everything, and know who you are voting. So that tomorrow, when they don't keep to their words, you can hold them responsible.
National Vice President of Nigeria Union of Journalists, Zone F, Opaka Dokubo, and Chairman of Rivers State Council of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Stanley Job Stanley, described the team as a formidable one that has the capacity to deliver if elected. They said Aisha Bura is competent with a strong support base and has contributed immensely to the development of Nawoj, and expressed happiness that their own daughter, Lillian Okonko, is pitching tent with her, and together they will build Nawoj to an enviable height if they emerge victorious. The team had earlier paid a courtesy visit to the chairman of Nigerian Union of Journalists, Rivers State Council, Stanley Job Stanley, before engaging the female journalists in an interactive session. Nnamdi Olimini, RSTV News.
The chairman of Obiakpo Local Government Council of Rivers State, George Ariolo, has described education as a major instrument for reducing poverty in the society. He described education as a major instrument. He made the remark during the commissioning of the modeled postgraduate hostel of Rivers State University, backed upon by his administration. Justice Ihuo tells us more.
Ariolo said education, both formal and informal, drives development because it provides avenue to improve the society, sustain peace, and engender logical minds. The chairman applauded the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Chief Barrister Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike, for constructing the hostel when he was chairman of Obiakpo Local Government, describing him as a visionary leader.
As a council, we have continued to place high premium on education. As you may be aware, our administration is committed to the training in our own assessment of 300. But so far we have done 208, as it has to do with our postgraduate grant as a program of Obiakpo local government area in this dispensation.
Ariolo noted that the local government places high premium on education and that only visionary leaders understands the power of education. Hence, his acceptance of the request of postgraduate students to embark on total renovation of the Hall of Residence. Ariolo commended the Vice Chancellor of the institution, Professor Nlerum Okoble, for his remarkable contributions to the growth of the school and charged the students and the school authority to ensure proper utilization and maintenance of the facilities.
Based on our love for education, presently we are building a 19-classroom secondary school block for Woji community.
Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Nlerum Okoble, lauded the chairman for his remarkable approach to governance, especially as a former student of the institution, and thanked him for making the school proud.
My former student has made me proud. You see, that's one of the joys that teachers have. Every good teacher will always be happy when his former student is doing very, very well. And I'm very, very proud that my former student is showcasing Rivers State University very, very well.
On his part, president of the postgraduate students, Comrade Nelson Odo, while giving a description of the project, expressed his gratitude to the chairman for the landmark project and his love for education. There was also presentation of prizes by the chairman to winners of the various sports categories of the George Ariolo Sports Festival held in the school. Justice Ihunwo, RSTV News.
President Bola Tinubu has just signed the 2.17 trillion naira 2023 supplementary budget, which was recently passed by the National Assembly. Signing the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act at the State House this afternoon, President Tinubu had the presence of the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and the Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas in attendance. Others standing with the President at the brief signing ceremony, which was held in his office, included the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, and Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, Zach Adedeji. Others at the signing were Senate Leader Senator Opeyemi Bamidele and the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Olamilekon Adeola. President Bola Tinubu has given assurance that the National Population Commission (NPC) will conduct a nationwide census soon. The President gave the assurance at the launch of the National Geospatial Data Repository Digital (CRVS) system and inauguration of the National Coordination Committee for CRVS at the Presidential Villa Abuja. Tinubu called for collaboration among ministries, departments and agencies of government. Tinubu underscored the relevance of data to national growth. He called on the census experts to deploy cutting-edge technology in gathering data on Nigeria's population, saying the nation cannot afford to lag behind in efficient data sourcing. According to the President, Nigeria has a lot to be grateful for because it is not prone to natural disasters. Break is next. Just before we do that, do you love and care about Rivers State and her peace? Let's build and take her to greater heights. This is a task we must accomplish. You can watch RSTV News live on YouTube at RSTV Online and on Facebook at RSTV Channel 22 Online. You can subscribe and click the notification bell for update on our live feeds. Up ahead, at least 20 dead in attack by English-speaking separatist government in Cameroon end. Dozens are dead and thousands are trapped in Somalia's worst flood in decades. Details of these and more in just a moment.
Big day ahead.
Full of nourishment and vitality. Empty bodies and shock minds. Ovaltine 3-in-1. Ovaltine 3-in-1.
New Ovaltine 3-in-1. Smart choice for smart kids.
Awesome wonder and mighty ruler, the King of all the earth.
I have said this, and I'm going to say it. My vision is not to buy private jets. My vision is not to drive the most expensive car. My vision is not to use the money of God to build expensive school that the members that contributed cannot attend. My vision is to use the resources of God, prepare people for heaven. My vision is to look for the lost souls, look for the prostitutes, look for the armed robbers, look for the killers, look for the assassins, use the resources of God and rehabilitate them and prepare them for heaven. My vision is to look for children that cannot go to school, children that are roaming on the street. Use the resources of God, take them to a school, think that they can go to school and become better people tomorrow. That is my vision.
OPN, Dr. Jesus in Action. Dr. Jesus in Action. God is here.
Dear business owners, company directors, and the general tax-paying public in Rivers State, in order to stimulate the ease of doing business, the Rivers State Internal Revenue Service has waived all penalties and interest on personal income tax not remitted from January 2023 till date. This offer lasts between now and the 31st of December 2023, after which defaulters will be made to pay both the interest, penalty, and the actual amount of their personal income tax, or be faced with unpleasant consequences. Remember, tax is the life wire of every government. Pay your taxes and support the Rivers State government as it is committed to the provision of more economic, social, and infrastructural development in Rivers State. For inquiries, visit us at Revenue House, Rainbow Town, Port Harcourt, or call 081-874-07958 or 091-356-52528.
This is RSTV World News. We bring you world-class news, accurate, first-hand, entertaining, balanced analysis. RSTV, Channel 22, Port Harcourt.
Good to have you join us again. The Senate has mandated its committees on ethics, privileges, and public petitions, tertiary education, and TED Fund to investigate alleged admission racketeering and other unwholesome practices by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. This is sequel to a motion titled Urgent Need to Curtail the Practice of Undisclosed Admissions and Other Unwholesome Practices by JAMB and universities, particularly the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, sponsored by Senator Mweboyi Onyeka Peter of Ebonyi North. While presenting his motion, Senator Peter cited the case of one Miss Chinyere Ekwe, who he said scored 291 out of 400 available marks in the 2019 UTME, 300 in the university's post-UTME, which qualified her for the course and was subsequently admitted by the university. According to him, the Senate was informed that the said Chinyere Ekwe was transferred to the Department of Medical Laboratory Science on the ground that if her cumulative grade was up to 4.5 points after the first year, she would be transferred back to medicine and surgery. He further noted that even though she surpassed the 4.5 threshold, her admission status is still not yet certain as to whether she is duly admitted to the Department of Medicine and Surgery or Medical Laboratory Science. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has queried irregularities in the registration of subsidiary companies under the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST. Chairman of the committee, Honorable James Abiodun Faleke, issued the query when the Ministry of Finance Incorporated and other agencies appeared before the committee for an interactive session on the 2024-2026 medium-term expenditures framework and fiscal strategy paper. Honorable Faleke noted that documents before the committee indicated that 2 subsidiary companies under NIPOST were registered under individual names as shareholders instead of the federal government. He also queried the approval and withdrawals of 10 billion naira for the purposes of the registration of the subsidiary companies. The Chief Executive Officer of MOFI, Dr. Armstrong Takang, in his response admitted there were irregularities within the system and that he needed the support of the committee to address them. Nigeria's Minister of Labor and Employment, Simon Bakola-Long, is leading the nation's delegation to the 349th session of the International Labour Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. Lalong, who is accompanied by some heads of agencies, under the ministry was received upon arrival at the ILO headquarters by Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations and Geneva Ambassador Richard Abiodun Adejola, as well as Ministry of Labour Attaché to ILO, Mr. Essa Aniafiok. Lalong, who is making his appearance at the ILO since assuming office as a Minister of Labour and Employment, was given a short tour of the ILO headquarters before meeting with Ambassador Adejola, who is holding forth under Nigeria's chairmanship of the governing body. Thereafter, the governing body convened where Nigeria's Ambassador Adejola presided over the debate on various items on the agenda of the 349th session. Some of the issues debated include harnessing technology in the digital era, protection of whistleblowers in the public service workplace, access to labor justice, workers' protection against chemical hazards, standard setting agenda, among others. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has instructed its branches nationwide to continue issuing both old and redesigned Naira notes in ample quantities to deposit money banks. The Apex Bank disclosed this in a statement signed by its Director, Corporate Communications, Issa Abdul Mumin. This comes in response to reports of cash shortages in major cities, despite earlier assurances from the CBN about sufficient cash availability nationwide. CBN reaffirms that there is sufficient stock of currency notes to facilitate normal economic activities. Furthermore, the bank advised the public to embrace alternative modes of payment, including electronic transfers and mobile money. An Abuja High Court sitting in Maitama on Wednesday granted bail to the detained ex-governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. The court, in a ruling that was delivered by Justice Olukayode Adeniyi, ordered that he should be released to his lawyers. Besides, the court held that it could not allow Emefiele remain in custody owing to claim of the federal government that he would, on November 15, be arraigned on a fresh charge. It held that the claim was speculative, as there was nothing to establish that the planned arraignment would hold as scheduled. It held that the lawyers should produce him in court on November 15 for his planned arraignment or at any other date that is required to appear in court. Justice Adeniyi directed Emefiele to surrender all his international documents, the most senior registrar of the court, pending his arraignment. It subsequently adjourned further proceedings in the matter till November 17. Around 20 people, including women and children, were killed in a new attack in a village by English-speaking separatists in western Cameroon, where these rebels and the army have been fighting each other for 7 years. Minister in charge of the Office of the President of the Republic, Victor Agri Okongo, said the tragedy occurred during the night in the village of Egbeku, southwest region. The prefect of Manyu Department, where Egbeko is located, Viang Mekala, said in the middle of the night, the terrorists attacked using firearms and traditional weapons, leaving around 20 people dead and 7 seriously injured, and around 10 houses burnt down. The state media attributed the attack to separatist rebels systematically referred to as terrorists by the authorities. Somalians are struggling to cope with never-before-seen flooding that has killed dozens of people and forced hundreds of thousands to abandon their homes in the wake of extreme rainfall that has engulfed much of East Africa. Following days of heavy torrents, at least 29 people have been killed and more than 300,000 have fled their homes for safety. Somalia's National Disaster Management Agency said on Wednesday, calling the phenomenon the most severe in decades, unquote. The extreme rain presents a new challenge for the Horn of Africa country, which is still reeling from a record drought that crippled its skilled agriculture and many as 43,000 people last year. Now, Somalia authorities are searching for thousands that may be stranded by the flood water. At least 2,400 people have been cut off in Luke town, long after the Juba River bursts its banks. The United Nations has warned. To entertainment news, where popular Nigerian artist Burna Boy 2022 jingle Lasts receives a diamond certification in France. Elizabeth Benjamin has more on this and other entertainment stories.
Burna Boy is one of the artists who is at the forefront of taking African music to listeners around the world through another landmark feat. This was revealed in a post on Snippet's Instagram page after the single reached the 50 million streams mark in the country. Last was released in 2022 as one of the lead singles of Burna Boy's Grammy-nominated 6th album, Love Damini.
Young cast, last, now everybody go to breakfast.
You go bow for the result, oh. Nothing to discuss, oh. Cause I did win by default and without any doubt, oh. I'm a me happy adult, oh.
Funke Akindele launches FAAN 360 Film Production House, an official launch after two projects that have become the talk of the town. Funke Akindele launches Film Production House in a post on Instagram and shared the news of the official start of the Funke Akindele network, further revealing that the company would be in charge of all-round dealings as regards film productions, thereby describing it as a 360 media house in her words. Nigeria veteran actor Emeka Ike is set to star in highly anticipated theatrical project Malaika, going back to the early 20s. Ike rocked our screens in notable Nollywood titles like A Million Tears, Snake Girl, and Not Man Enough. And now, after a long time away, he returns with a new title set to unravel an intriguing story. Malaika is scheduled to make its theatrical debut on December 22, 2023 across cinemas nationwide. Elizabeth Benjamin, RSTV Entertainment News.
Do you love and care about River State and our peace? Let's build and take her to greater heights. This is a task we must accomplish. You can watch RSTV News live on YouTube at RSTV Online, and Facebook at RSTV Channel 22 Online. You can subscribe and click the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. To end the news, a recap of some of the major stories. President Bola Tinubu has just signed the 2.17 trillion naira 2023 supplementary budget, which was recently passed by the National Assembly. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has instructed its branches nationwide to continue issuing both old and redesigned naira notes in ample quantities to deposit money banks. The Senate has mandated its committees on ethics, privileges and public petitions, tertiary education and TED Fund to investigate alleged admission racketeering and other unwholesome practices by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM). It also reported that an Abuja High Court sitting granted bail at Maitama to the detained Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Mr. Godwin Emefiele. That's how RSTV captured the world on its lenses. Thank you for your time and do have a very splendid evening.